I want to welcome you to the Pro Mindset Podcast. The Pro Mindset Podcast is all about diving into the headspace that results in championship performance. High-performing athletes, winners, have this mental flow and have a positive headspace for their performances and success. Join me, Craig Domann, sports attorney and NFL agent, on this podcast. I will interview pro athletes, college athletes, football coaches, and sports personalities. Together, we can discover how you can get in the flow and have your own pro mindset. Okay, today on Pro Mindset, we have a Denver Bronco defensive lineman, Deyon Sizer. Deyon, you went to CSUP?
Yes, sir. Yes, I did.
Okay, so let's just get started. How cool is it to be in the NFL? Did you dream about playing in the NFL?
Yeah.
You
I
did?
Definitely did. Yeah, I feel like every little kid growing up playing sports with the backyard with your friends at recess, playing, you always imagine being like those big name guys in the big games. And so I definitely had dreams to play.
Who's your idol?
Oh, Deyon Sanders, because one, I was named after him.
You were?
Yeah, I was named after him. I loved Michael Vick, watching him play. I love watching Michael Vick play. So I feel like those were my big ones when I got into football. I was always, growing up though, I was a big basketball guy. So I definitely wanted to be, I was a kid that wanted to be in like the NBA first and then NFL second. I wanted to be like kind of how like Deyon Sanders was. I wanted to be in both. Kind of like, well, he was MLB and then NFL. I wanted to be basketball and football when I was a kid, obviously.
Okay, so I'm a big believer in dreaming, and so you were dreaming, and you picked two really awesome, guys to model after. Did you ever play anything besides line? Were you like a running back when you were a little kid?
I was a safety because, like I said, Deyon Sanders was one of so I wanted to be just like him. I was a safety and corner, so I played DB. Let's see, I played running back. I played quarterback. This is all like little league before it's like they really like if you throw it 10 yards accurately, you're the quarterback on the team kind of thing. And then I played flag football growing up. I didn't play tackle until I was in high school, and at that point is when they put me at I was a lineman. I was a D lineman in high school my freshman year. Stayed that way from high school, college, and all of that.
Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you graduate from high school?
I graduated from Eagle Crest High School in Aurora, Colorado.
Okay, so coming out of Eagle Crest High School, how many football offers did you have?
I had 3, and they were all D2. I had talked to some Division I teams, but I didn't actually get serious about thinking about it. Because, as a kid, you're not really thinking about it all. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that we had a kid that was we had a guy who was older than me, a year older. He was a senior, I was a junior. He was getting recruited by Wyoming, and he was like a big name guy. Got like the Colorado Gold helmet, I believe. And
what's his name?
Xavier Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Xavier Lewis is his name. And he saw a lot of schools were coming in, and they would look at him. And then obviously when they look at one, they kind of look around. And so I had talked to a lot of big name schools in the process, and then I had talked to Wyoming for a little bit, but never really had any kind of really back and forth. And then my senior year, I started getting like, oh man, like this is serious, this is real. Like I started like really being like, man, this is it. And so I started getting more and more, but it was more from the Division II schools, and it was like the local ones like Pueblo, Mesa. There was a couple in Nebraska. I can't remember the name at all.
Probably Shadron and Carter.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, and then Adams State as well. But Pueblo was the first one that I went into a visit for. And my plan was that I had them like lined up like every weekend going to a different school visit, because I've always heard the stories like you got to go visit out everywhere, Went to Pueblo and then met the coaching staff, saw the facility, saw the work ethic they did, saw how they go about their day. And I was never one for like the big flashy stuff that they all have. Pueblo had at the time they had the best record. They were showing that they were winning, and I definitely wanted to win. And when I went there, met the coaches, met the defense, or saw the defense, how they were doing it, and I was like, yeah, like this is where I want to play ball at. And so I signed up at Pueblo, played for Coach Riston. Don't know if you remember him, but great guy, great coach. And Coach Hughes was the defense coordinator at the time, and hell of a coach as well. And then Coach Leo Meady, he, rest in peace to him. He passed away recently over the last year or so. And he was a phenomenal coach, one of the best, most influential coaches I've ever had. And, talking to all of them on my visit basically sold me on it. Plus, it was close to home, so my mom was happy. And then went there, and I, don't regret my decision whatsoever.
Okay, so Deyon, you didn't get a scholarship offer from guys like Clemson and Notre Dame and Alabama.
Nope. Not
so how do you go to the NFL from CSU Pueblo?
Honestly, the work ethic that they set up there, and the legacy, we always have a saying that there's tradition never graduates. And when I got there, they had sent Mike Pennell and Ryan Jensen to the NFL. So they were like, that is tradition. We send people to the NFL. We let them know that CSU Pueblo is a powerhouse, that is a great school, that no matter if you're Division I, Division II, or you could be playing on ESPN on the top, or you can just people have to stream to watch your game. You can make it as long as you can play. And CSU Pueblo makes it so the coaches and everything, they get you ready to play. You just have to have the mindset for it. And I think what got me from CSU Pueblo to where I'm at now was, one, the coaches, two, the work ethic that they set up, and then the discipline, and just seeing the guys ahead of you. If you see someone in the exact same situation as you, make the most of what they can do. It's such a powerful setting for you, just because when you see that, you feel like you can do that as well. You that imagination you had as a kid, it kind of brings it back. Be like, man, if he can do it, I can do it. And then you're next to these guys, and I was like, man, I remember running sprints with him and I was beating him in the sprints, or I remember lifting with him and I was just as strong as he was. What is it that I can do what is it that he does that I can do? And I remember the most recent one that went after me was Morgan Fox, and he just signed a good deal in Carolina, but he was playing with the Rams and everything. And I remember talking to him and asking him what the biggest thing was, and he was like, honestly, if you play your heart out and everything else like that, football is football, no matter where you go. If you can play, you can play. And he told me technique was the biggest, another thing that was a big jump. So I worked on my technique, and then I remember him saying people obviously they're bigger, stronger than D2, and there's a big jump, so get bigger, stronger. So I worked on that, and being able to talk to him. And then my defensive line coach, my junior and senior year of college, was Coach Herm Smith. We used to call him Big Herm. But he played in the NFL and the CFL. And him and his knowledge, him bringing all that knowledge to me, helped put in that mindset of what it would be like, what I would have to do to get there. And basically comparing what I have been doing to what I need to do to get to where I want to be. And to where I want to be is just in the door. There's a whole other stuff that I still have to do in order to make sure I maintain that. It's you want to work hard to get there, but you got to work harder to stay there, And so I would just say the work ethic that Pueblo sets is one of the hard. It was some of the hardest workouts. I remember the first workout I went to. After the workout was done, I remember I sat in my locker, and then I went straight to sleep. Right there, I went straight to sleep. Missed my second. I think it was I can't even remember when, but I think I missed my one of my first classes, and so I was terrified. I was my attendance and stuff, but I was so tired after that. I was oh man, so this is what it's like. So I was getting my mind right to be able to work and do that.
Well, let me share something with you that I've discovered from working with NFL players for 30 some years and watching guys that didn't get drafted play 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And seeing guys that are drafted in the first round play 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thinks the difference is ability and talent. Never is. Yeah. It's their mindset. And so I've created this pro mindset model. Mm-hmm. And the components are your identity triangle, your passion battle, your motivational response, your construction zone, your lifestyle systems, and combat readiness are 6 of the 7. And so in identity, what I find is that some guys don't have the belief in themselves that they need to play in the NFL. It doesn't matter if they get drafted or not. They don't believe they belong. So guess what? You cannot perform inconsistent with your belief. So if you don't believe you should be there, you'll perform in a way that they'll ask you to leave. Yeah. They're going to tap you on the shoulder, so go see the big man. They're going to ask for your playbook, and they're going to take you on a shuttle to DIA, and you're going to go home. In your case, you just drive home, right? At the end of the day, your identity to me is the most important thing. So there's a reason why some guys can come in the league and start from the jump. They don't have to test the waters. They don't have to learn the ropes. They don't have to figure it out. They just go in, dive in head first, and go. And if they don't make it, they'll go somewhere else. Okay? We got other guys that go in and think, oh man, I'm on the team now. I don't want to lose my spot. Well, anybody that has that kind of mindset is going to get cut.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the other two components besides belief in the identity triangle is your attitude and your confidence. So if you look at the ABCs of identity, it's your attitude, your belief, and your confidence. And attitude is the energy. It's the mojo you have. It's the body language. It's how you respond to the football assistant, the quality control coach, the big man. It doesn't matter who it is. It's how you interact with your teammates, right?
Yeah.
And then your confidence is how you feel about what you do. And football's a negative business. They don't pat you on the back.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
They always tell you what you could be doing better. And so when the position coach is going over practices, he's putting up there saying, hey, Deyon, look at your footwork on here. Look at your hand placement. Look at your effort, whatever it is. Okay? And so the way you get better at your confidence is you work on your skills. You work on your technique. That's what Morgan Fox was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? But belief to me is like if a guy has that, he can have bad practice, a bad rep. He can get his ass chewed by his coach. He didn't let it bother him.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a huge thing to have is the mindset. That really sets a lot of people apart. And then, because we have, basically like you were saying, you get people who get constructive criticism and then they shut down. They just is like, oh, it's over for like they sat there and then they're woe is me. The ones who take it as it is and be like, okay, that's what it was. Whether no matter how the delivery is, you got to look at the message of what is being told. I mean, you could have someone screaming, hollering, just cursing at you all the way. But if you just take, okay, he wants me to step like this and put my hands here when I do that, then there you go. You focus on that. You don't focus on how it made you feel. You can't have you don't want those feelings you can't have your feelings get hurt. You can't be sensitive, especially when it comes to coaching and having constructive criticism, because it's not always meant to be nice. It's meant to like drill into you how serious it's supposed to be. And then those who take that and adapt with it, like you were saying, who have that mindset, that attitude, and the confidence in themselves to be able to get that done, I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay, so you're going into your third season?
Third season.
Okay, so what are you going to do? You show up for training camp when?
On the 27th.
Okay, so you're looking at about 2 weeks. Okay, so what are you going to do in year 3 that you didn't do in year 1 and 2?
Basically, going into camp, I'm going to show that, because when we first got in, I struggled with the defense, the technique a little bit, and it was foreign to me, a different type of technique of the technique that they work, like a mirror type reading type technique for my position. I struggled with that, and so for the last 2 years, I've been working wholeheartedly on that, showing my skills. So when I go to camp, I want to show that. I want to show all the fruits of all the effort.
What happens if they don't give you a lot of reps? How are you going to handle that?
Basically, take the mental reps or do whatever I can, get special teams reps. I've talked to the special teams coordinator, try to get on there. Basically, do whatever I can to get myself seen, And
what happens when the starter wants to take a light day? So he's not hurt. He's like, Coach, my hamstring's kind of tight. Yeah. And we need somebody to jump in there. Are you that guy that's going to jump in there?
Yeah, that's a blessing to me, because if he wants to take that time off, that's more time that I can get seen. The more times I can get myself on that field and get myself to be on that film, that's more times that I can get that experience, because the experience is really what can help you. A lot of the physical characteristics can be the same, but the experience can help you get to where you want to be, because feeling it out, having more and more reps, because if you mess something up, you get to do it again, you get to do it again, you get to do it again, you get to find out what works for you in the play. Because when you go do a drill on a bag, the bag doesn't move, the bag doesn't fight back. Everything can look perfect and crisp and clean on a bag. When you go against another human being that is doing the same thing at a professional level as you, it's harder. You have to adjust to it. So when you do that and you go against that person, it helps you realize, okay, when I go against a person, I have to shake a little bit more. I have to do this a little bit more. I have to carry the steps, 2 more steps. I have to fake in more. I have to fake a hand more. I have to be more stout here. It helps you not only self-critique yourself, but then when you see that on film, you get to see how you react at that speed, and then you basically it helps you play better when you obviously play. When practice makes perfect. Kind of thing. I was like, yeah, you can get all the mental reps you want to get, but those physical reps are just are like indispensable. Like there's you can't. Those
it's like
can't
gold.
Yeah, like the physical is the best. Obviously, mental reps when you're not in, because you can't be in 100 plays in a row. Obviously, there's the rotation. Whether I get 2 plays a day or if I get 30 plays a day, I'm honed in. I'm getting the mental reps on the ones I'm in. If I'm getting many reps, I'm asking other people, what do you think I could have done better? I'm asking my coach after every team period, what could I have done better? I want to make sure I improve that. If I have a day where I have a good practice, I want to find out how I can have a great practice. If I have a great practice, I want to find out how I can have a perfect practice. And there's always things that I can be worked on. And like I said, I can always be better at things. There's never a day in any day I've had ever where I've been like, man, that was a good day. I'm good for it now. I'm done. I don't have to work at this anymore. It's all right. If I had it to the point to where I'm satisfied, now what can I do to the point to where I've had it perfected, where I can do it in my sleep perfectly? Whether if it's a cross chop or if it's a fake or if it's a spin or a dip and rip, those are the fundamentals that I can continually create, so that if I have it at a high level, when I get tired, everything drops. Performance drops whenever you get tired, when fatigue sets in. The higher that I rep something, the stronger it becomes when I actually get it. And then once I'm tired, it won't deteriorate. My play won't deteriorate as fast. Is how I look at that.
Okay, so how many times have you been cut?
I've been cut 3 times now.
What was it like the first time?
It was hard because I didn't exactly get to do anything. I went, and that was the hardest part. It wasn't a cutting.
It wasn't fair? Did you get a fair shake?
I didn't feel it at the time. I didn't
Probably
feel as if, because it was, but I know it was a business, and I can't hold that against them. It's a business. You got to do what you got to do. I think what made it so painful was that 1 is obviously the first one. 2, it happened before we had any kind of like actual camp stuff. We had OTAs and everything else like that. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I did terrible. Like I struggled with like I told you, I struggled with the technique. I struggled with that. Like I want to work on it. And I worked all hard that off season. And then I would say it was like within that first week of camp starting is when I got that news, hey, we're cutting you. And I'm just God. I didn't really get the opportunity to prove like, man, I promise you I got this right. I got that
pisses
right.
me off. So you really didn't get a fair shake. And in some respects you did, but because you weren't ready for the technique and the playbook, they moved on soon.
Yeah, I mean, or it was a numbers game. I don't, like I said, it's a business.
It is a business.
It's a business, and like you can't hold them. I don't hold any hostility towards them on what they did, because obviously everything worked out in the long run. I mean, as it is right now. But I remember after that happened, I watched the game that they had because I was, even though I got cut, I have no ill will to my teammates or the coaches or anything, whatever it is, to the organization. I've been a Broncos fan. And so I watched the game and I see them playing. I'm over here cheering them on and everything like that. Even though I'm like waiting on my phone for my agent to tell me, what's next for me and go on to my next workout and stuff.
Exactly.
I was definitely sad. I was definitely hurt. And it was like, man, but like for me, I also felt blessed in the moment too. Because it was like whether or not, this is going to continue or not, I had an opportunity to be a Bronco. That's something that I can take with me at the end of the day, at the end of my, like, whatever it is, I can say I was a Bronco. I actually was able to do it. I was in the door. Whether or not I did well at that first little bit, I was able to be there, And then I was blessed to know, I remember I was working, I thought, football was over, so I'm over here, creating my resume, and I'm still doing workouts and stuff. And I get a call back saying, hey, we're signing you back. And I think it was less than a week from when I got cut the first time. And I remember as soon as I hit that, I felt a switch in my head. I was like, I'm going to prove everything that I can prove now. And on the technique that we had and everything else along those lines, I mean, I still struggled. I'm not going to say I went in there and I was Superman or anything like that. But I went in there and I tried to, basically be like, I'm not going to let effort or anything else be on the table. Because for some reason, I remember feeling a slight regret for some reason after getting cut the first time. And I don't know what it was from, but I just was like, man, I wish. And this time I said, I'm not going to say anything about I wish. I'm going to do it. And if I get 1 play or 2 plays, I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm giving them 100% at all times. And I was doing that before, but I had that regret just because just getting cut. And I made sure to do that. And then at the end of it, I was like, oh man, like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then I got cut again for final cuts. But this one was for And then they had told me when they were coming in, they were like, hey, we're bringing you back on practice squad, developmental, build your skills up and everything else like that. And I was literally like, I called my mom and my dad, and I was like, man, like, you know, I'm got my toe in the door or something like that. You know, it's like just a little bit, but I'm in it. I have the ability to learn from so many great people. I got to learn from Von Miller, Shelby Harris, Mike Purcell, basically Bradley Chubb. I get to learn from all these guys, like how to play and how to be a pro, you know, how to build my mindset so I can continue to stay here, not be here for a couple weeks and then be gone. And then the last time I got cut was at the end of my rookie year. It was like, I would say it would have been like April of my rookie year. I got released after my rookie year was over. So we were about to report for it was like right after the draft, I believe, or right before. I can't remember exactly. And then I got cut again. And then that one was from April, and then they called me back in September. That was basically that. But during that whole time, I was.
So were you on the practice squad last year?
Yes, I was. Practice squad whole year.
Let me throw this out at you. There's a starter mentality. There's a 53-man mentality. There's a practice squad mentality. And there's a what I would call rookie get cut mentality. Mm-hmm. Where do you feel like you are now? Because whatever you feel is going to limit what you can do.
Yeah.
So if you're in that mindset, so this is what I tell guys all the time. Typical rookie mindset is, I want to make it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that fair? Is that a good?
No, that was fair.
Okay, that's what most guys have, right? Mm-hmm. But in the 90 guys they bring in, let's say they keep 53, how many of the 90 didn't want to make it?
I don't think anyone doesn't want to.
Heck no, they all want to make it.
Everybody wants to make it.
Maybe mama wants them to make it really bad, right?
Yeah.
So now look at this situation. You have 90 guys that want to make it. Mm-hmm. So if you're one of those 90 and you have a mindset, I want to make it, you're no better off than anybody else. Mm-hmm. You're like everybody else. So when you go into camp, every GM that's worth his street cred already knows who's going to make it before camp starts. Mm-hmm. But the idea is to be one of those 10 guys that make it if they don't have you on the list, and be sure that if they do have you on the make it list, you don't screw it up, right? So what I can tell you is that if you go into camp in year 3 with the mindset that you're going to start, that's your mentality. Mm-hmm. Forget the roster. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever been on an active roster yet, or just practice squad?
No, I've been on the active roster.
How many weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So you got one credited season.
Yeah.
Right. So let's pretend that you, for sake of discussion, go into 2021 with the mindset that you're going to start. Well, if you're not a fraud and you're authentic with yourself, you got to act differently because you're a starter. You got to know the playbook better because you're a starter. Yeah. You got to have better body language as you walk around the facility in Dove Valley because you're a starter. You have to talk differently to your position coach because you're a starter. You have to be more accountable. You have to help other guys out because you ain't worried about your job. You're going to be a starter. Compare that mindset to the mindset of, I want to make it this time, which most guys in your shoes would have. Mm-hmm. I just want to make it this time. I'm smarter. I've been around the block a few times, got a little taste of it. I know my technique better. I know the playbook better. I've got a better connection with my coaches. And if you have this one, the second one, you may make it. Mm-hmm. You may not. But if you have the starter mentality, I'm going to bet you right now there's 95% chance you make it. Not 100, 95. Because you're going to relate differently with your coaches. You're going to relate differently with Bradley and Vaughn. You're the starter. Dude, you're going to talk to Vaughn differently. I'm not going to put him up on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go to him and go, hey, bro, how am I doing? So think about this. If you go in with the mindset that you're going to be a starter, what kind of internal communication are you going to have with your teammates in the locker room? You're the starter. You're going to be the starter. I'm just going to guess. Vaughn, I got this. I got to clean this up, but I got this. If you go in with the mindset to make the team, you go, Vaughn, what can I do better? Vaughn, can you watch? Hey, did you watch my rep today? How'd I look? Am I making any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Because what did you do at CSUP when you were the guy?
Yeah, it was the leader, starter. Yeah.
Did you ask some of the freshmen how you were doing?
No.
Did you say, hey, let's watch tape together so you can let me know how I'm doing on my technique?
No, not the freshman, no.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But what a lot of NFL rookies do? Hey, man, if you got a minute, I'd love to get your feedback. Because you're going in to start. You tracking with me?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. So you do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You do whatever you want. I'm just telling you that your identity, whatever it is, has two controls over your career. One is it influences how other people respond to you. It influences how your coaches are going to coach you. It's going to influence how your coaches evaluate you. And it's going to influence how your teammates see you. And the second thing is, if you have the right identity, you're going to perform differently, better, higher, or not. And I've heard this happen. I've represented a lot of guys that have been starters. They'll say, hey, coach came to me. And teams like try to figure out between player A and player B. And they go, yeah, I had player B over at the house over at the crib last night, and he ain't ready. He ain't ready. Because you know what he's doing? Hey, how am I doing? You freaking ought to know how you're doing. Yeah. And you really don't give a shit what they think. Because once you start thinking about caring about what they think, your identity's not where it needs to be. You don't believe in yourself. Because you're looking for affirmation. Tell us, what's been the coolest thing of your NFL career so far?
Coolest thing would have to be, honestly, being in it. Being in the NFL. Being able to say that I play for the Broncos, or I play in the NFL, or, I would say, like, one of the cool things, and I always feel like, I don't know why, but it always feels weird when it gets brought up, is like someone, like, I'll be in a conversation, like, what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I play football. Oh, for who? And I'd be like, the Broncos. And it feels cool to say that, and like being able to like know all the work that I did brought me up to that point. Like that was like, it's cool to say that. Like I really love saying that. I know what it means to have that logo on my chest and to be able to go out and do that, and be able to say that. I would say that's very cool. And then honestly, the people that I've met during the entire process that have being in the NFL allows me to meet different people who have a lot of like different views on the world and different like aspirations and different goals, and I get to meet like a wide range of people and see how they go. But I love people. How you go to the airport and you just people watch. I am a people watcher, so I love to like look at how people go about their day and then see what they do, what their work ethic is, what motivates them, and like being able to be around amazing people and see these, you see these people on TV and everything, but then to be able to know them personally, I think is one of the coolest things ever, and, whatever, the flashing lights and all that stuff like that, being able to be at this level and play football at this level, I think just being in it is the coolest thing. I know that's kind of like a wide range answer, but like...
Okay, no, I like it. Let me challenge you. Okay, Deyon, that what you just described is very cool. Mm-hmm. But you know what would be cooler? Is that you're starting in the NFL and you're getting paid one of the top salaries on your team. Yeah.
Okay. That would be a beyond blessing, yeah. Yes. And that's the goal to work for.
That's the goal to work for. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, for guys, you've already accomplished tremendously. You really have. You pat you on the back, for real. Not everybody goes D2 NFL. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a bunch that have. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have. But the majority of the guys you played college ball with, they got real jobs. Yeah. Right? And the players you played against in the RMAC, they got real jobs. Yeah. There's Austin Eckler, and there's a few guys like that. But 99 out of 100 guys have real jobs, right? Mm-hmm. So this is my challenge to you. Up-level your goals, because you've already achieved your goals. Mm-hmm. Okay? What you've done is impressive because you've gone D2 NFL. But now that you're going into year 3, who cares? Mm-hmm. Who cares if you're drafted or not? Yeah. Who cares when you went to school or not? Who cares? Now it's about what's gonna happen in your life in 2021 and 2022 and moving forward. And you have the most influence over that than anybody on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where I find guys, like I've worked with a lot of guys like you that have overcome those challenges and have become ballers, but it's all here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of your dreams, your motivations, your identity, your hard work, a lot of those things, and basically putting what your dreams are on steroids. So much so you can't tell your girl, can't tell your parents, can't tell your agent, can't tell your friends, can't tell the media. Because if you tell them that's your dream, they'll think you're on crack.
Yeah.
They'll think you're like perpetually high. Like, what have you been eating? Because you seriously? You want to go to the Pro Bowl this year? And then when you have those crazy dreams, then you have to look at, does my lifestyle systems, are they consistent with that? Habits, sleep, studying your playbook, connecting with your coach, preparing for practice like it's a game, all these things. Is your work ethic consistent with that? Is your identity consistent with that dream, that crazy dream? I'm here to tell you that if it is, God's got a plan for you. You just, knock on wood, you stay healthy. Those things happen to those people. It's just that most people don't do that. What most people want to do is just make it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever like been in a situation where they talk all the time about, shoot for the stars, maybe hit the moon. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Shoot for being the dude. Shoot for being defensive MVP for the Broncos in 2021. And then you're gonna have a lot of decisions to make in the next couple of weeks, next 6 weeks. Oh, if I'm gonna do that, if I'm gonna be MVP of the team on defense, I gotta do a little bit more. I gotta stay a little bit later. I gotta be a little bit more focused. I gotta be a little bit less distracted. I gotta get in that playbook one more time. I gotta steal a rep or two. I gotta be an asshole to the offensive guard that's one of your best friends, but just for practice. Because, like when you got cut a couple times, I'm sure this happened. They passed the hat in the locker room for Deyon. It was the Deyon charity fund, and you got this nice little cashier's check for big amounts for Vaughn, and all these guys are like, man, we like Deyon. Let's give him some money. That happened?
No.
Hell no. And when you're on the team and somebody gets cut, are you donating to their charity fund? That's what I'm talking about. So when you got to be an asshole against offensive linemen, it's either you eat or he eats sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you were speaking to, let's say, a group of college kids, and you know everybody in college wants to play pro ball, and you were the keynote speaker, knowing what you know today, that some of that stuff you knew before you got to the NFL, but you got real smart this last few years. What would you tell them that would help them maximize their potential for success?
To actually listen. And I don't mean just like listen to like the every little thing, but like a lot of times when the coaches say things or they do speeches, it's always the same story, the same thing. But like when you hear it, you're like, oh, they're just talking about that. They're just talking about this. But when you genuinely listen to the things that they say, or a lot of the things that people try to give you, like this, like the mindset conversations or the motivation conversations, you hear them and like, oh no, I have no problem being motivated. Like I say, listen to that and genuinely, intrinsically look at yourself and see what it is that you're doing that is different than what they're saying. Because listening, I kid you not, is a quality that is lost now. People don't listen as much as that. You could tell somebody something 4 different times and then 5 minutes later, what'd you say? And I think that's with a huge population, not just college athletes, but I definitely think if they do it in college athletes and you listen and you apply what you understand, like you comprehend what is being said and you apply it, like whether it's something they're telling you that's mental, something they're telling you that's physical, I think listening is by far one of the biggest things that's gotten me in any kind of like the things I've noticed that I made the biggest jumps is when I genuinely listen, not to like, you know, the big like, oh, you have to do the step here, you have to do the step there, but like listen to like, you know, how people do things, and then like think about like, okay, they physically did that, but what drove them to that? You know, like intrinsically look at yourself and then be like, why would I do that? Why would this apply to me? Why would this help me? And when you listen to somebody and you hear the things that they're telling you, because coaches all the time, they bring in speakers, they bring in everything, and like they're all the speakers are telling you the same thing. Like, you know, if you want to succeed, as hard as you want to breathe, you know, like all those types of motivation things, you know, it's like, yeah, I want to work. And then an hour later, they're going out to the club drinking, you know? They're not listening to it. Like they'll apply it when it's convenient. You know, it's like, oh, I want to succeed in the game. It's not, I want to succeed when you're going to sleep at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night because you have a 5 o'clock lift. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't apply to, it only applies to them when it's convenient for them. You know, but when you listen to it and you genuinely apply it, like, people know, like, the coaches that usually, like, most coaches, I will say, good coaches, know what they're talking about when they're giving you knowledge. It's because they know what it would take to get you there, at least the good ones. And most ex-players or keynote speakers, when they're telling you knowledge and giving you these things, you know, a lot of people want to just be like, oh, you know, they're saying the same old thing I heard a week ago. But, like, the reason so many speeches and motivational things sound similar is because it's a very simple topic. Like, those things work. It's not rocket science to know what the process is. Like, everyone tells you the process, whether or not, like you were saying with the mindset, the people who actually have the attitude and apply it are the ones that see the biggest results from that. So I know it's like a simple term, but listening, I think, is something that I think is invaluable and literally just go above and beyond, in my opinion.
Here's what I can tell you is that, and you've experienced this, you go from college where you're taking all the first team reps,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to the pros where you're not taking any first team reps,
Yeah.
and you're only getting a couple reps. So we call all those other reps mental reps.
Mm-hmm.
You have to choose whether you're going to take them or not. And that's a choice that every player makes when he's on the sidelines. So if you know the play sheet, you know the play call, you know what you're supposed to do, you watch the guy that's doing what you should be doing if you're in there, and you're being constructively critical with him on, hey, he did this right, but he did this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So candidly, based upon how the NFL installs their schemes, and the way they do their practices, every single player in your position room could take every single rep in practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking physical, I'm talking mental.
Yeah.
Every single one if they wanted to. But I think guys get tired, they get fatigued, they start thinking about other things. And they don't get the value of those mental reps. And then the second part of listening that I'm going to piggyback on what you said is that coaches sometimes like to hear themselves talk.
I understand. Yeah.
But coaches like to coach. So what do coaches do when they coach? They're sending a message to a player to help him get better. Okay? So if you're on the sidelines and your D-line coach is coaching somebody else up, you have a choice. Listen in.
Always.
Take the message, right? He's in the position meetings, and he's criticizing this guy for doing X, Y, and Z. They're like, okay, he didn't like that. And he's complimenting this guy for doing A, B, and C. Okay, he likes that. He will tell you the secret code. He'll tell you what it takes to crack the code. But what happens to players is very tough. It's easier said than done. It's easy to say, I'm going to take all these mill reps. It's easy to say, I'm going to listen. It's easy to say that, I'm pissed off. He's not coaching me. He's coaching this other guy. I wouldn't be butthurt. I just go, okay, what's he telling him? Because he's basically, he's telling that guy and you what he wants. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So if you go to school on all that stuff in a short period of time, you really know what your coach, what he's putting down and what you should be taking. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Or you don't listen and you don't. Okay. Wrapping up, here's what I'd like to ask you something and share something with you. Deyon, your career is going to be over at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Could be 10 years from now.
Could be tomorrow. Could be any day.
Could be 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Right? What do you want to do to make sure you give yourself the best odds and probability of making it that you didn't even think about doing until we had this conversation. Because I'm challenging you to dig deeper and to do more, be more, believe more, perform higher than you were going to. And now that I'm doing that, you may go, bro, I got this, man. I got this shit in the bag. I'm good. And that's fine. But I'm just saying, you're on the eve of training camp. What is it that you got to do that's going to put you in a position to achieve more than you would have otherwise?
I say get my mind at a higher level, thinking of evaluating myself, of attitude. Basically, train my mind as equal as I train my body.
Amen. Got to.
Yeah. And I do those things, but to do them at a higher level than I have. Don't do the same things I did a year ago. Do whatever I can, really challenge my mind. Like having the conversation challenges my thinking. Challenging my thinking will elevate my mindset, And so I think elevating my mindset and challenging my mental is something that'll be astronomical in changing how someone can play or how I can play physically, personally.
Okay. So I'm going to give you one more idea along that same line, is to either make a video or journal. You being the best version of you. Day to day, rep by rep, on the field, in the facility and meetings, at home, and then whatever that is, you get to create it. So create your own movie. Make sure you're the star of the movie. Okay. Make sure that no matter what the circumstances is, you come out the hero. You're the Superman. And you can anticipate the things that are going to happen. Not as many reps as you thought. Somebody else that is below you on the depth chart is blowing it up and getting a little bit more love than you are. There's like 4,000 things that it could be, right?
Yeah.
Any of those things, you come out successful. You pull a muscle the second day of training camp. In your movie, you still do it. You don't let it stop you.
Yeah.
What most guys do is they got a plan until they get punched in the face. That's Mike Tyson's thing, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is they got this great plan, and then they get punched in the face with something they didn't expect, and then it's over. Bada boom, I'm good. I was in camp for 3 years. I got one credited season. I made a little bit of money last year, but it's over. And that's your identity for the rest of your life. And then you're hoping your agent can get you workouts and somebody else will pick you up or whatever the case may be. Or you create that movie of you being Superman, and every scenario you can think of, you are the starter. And then you act, walk, talk, relate, and work, and most importantly, perform consistent with that new identity. You might find yourself getting a little bit more effort, even though you already thought you were giving it everything you got. You might be studying a little bit more. You might be hanging out with some of the guys that are starters because you see yourself as a starter. Because this is what I see with rookies. Rookies hang with rooks most of the time. And rookies that are undrafted hang with rooks that are undrafted. And you know why you do? Because they room you with them.
And put you together.
Put you together. So now all of a sudden we become friends. Guess who you're eating lunch with at the cafeteria? That guy. Majority of those guys are going home. So what you got to do is you got to move out of that neighborhood and start sitting with the other guys, because then the coaches will walk by and subconsciously they see you sitting across from Vaughn. And all of a sudden it's, dude, he's one of our guys. Then they look over at that table and they just give a little glance like, yeah, maybe next year for those guys. So you were probably that guy most of the time, because most guys are. So you got to step out of your comfort zone and step into a new neighborhood with a new mindset, with a higher, basically a bigger dream, and then see what happens. I already know what's going to happen. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. If you do what I said, you'll be running out of the tunnel opening game. You won't be on the practice squad. You'll be running out of the tunnel. So I want to wish you good luck. Thank you for being on Pro Mindset.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. Good luck to you, brother.
Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pro Mindset. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. You can follow us on our website, promindsetpodcast.com, or on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pro Mindset Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you the next time.